Welcome to Standard Chartered Money Insights, a podcast series by Standard Chartered Bank that brings you market views and insights on the go.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of InvesTips from the CIO's desk. Today, I want to talk about what happens when the best laid plans interact with the real world. As Mike Tyson famously said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Life has a habit of surprising us and giving us different challenges to think about. It's how we roll with the punches that matters. For some, this becomes too complex, and they follow a seat-of-the-pants approach to their finances in terms of saving, insurance, and investing. However, this is a risky strategy. You're then going through life being buffeted by things that are outside of your control, and obviously your personal situation will change over time as well, but most are things that you could have reasonably predicted and therefore prepared for. A more eloquent quote is from Dwight D. Eisenhower, the former US president. Plans are worthless, but planning is everything. While you know that the plan you have today is not going to last, the time you took to develop this plan means that you're more likely to be prepared for different outcomes and understand how you should react. This is where adaptive financial planning comes in. The point is to understand that your plans will need to change based on different life events as well as market performance. Now let's take two examples to try and make this real. First, somebody who is just starting a family, and then we'll look at somebody who's entering retirement. Both are potentially scary times of your life, but with adequate preparation, you should be able to figure out what to do and make contingency plans. For the new parents, they're suddenly responsible for something more than just themselves. This can weigh heavily on their shoulders in many ways. The financial challenges and risks are just one stream of things you need to think about, but it is an important one. Suddenly you think about the risks to your health and your ability to work. You should factor in different scenarios, their impact, and their likelihood. For instance, if you work in an industry with low job security, then the risk of you losing your job may be high. But then you could factor in the fact that you're not the sole breadwinner, which means that the impact of that happening may be lower. Your plan should factor these variables in and have a plan of action should you actually lose your job. The reality is, things will not happen exactly as you expected, but having thought about it beforehand will make you more prepared on how to deal with it. Meanwhile, you're also worried about the need for provision for different things. Your kid's education, maybe its wedding, and your own retirement, of course. You don't want to be a burden to the next generation. Therefore, you realize the need to save and invest. If you have low job security, you may want to save more and invest less aggressively, and vice versa. For the new retiree, the world is scary in a different way. You're giving up your source of earned income and therefore becoming solely reliant on your portfolio to fund your lifestyle. Getting a balance between making sure you enjoy retirement and have sufficient money to last you is a key challenge. Some simple rules of thumb, such as the 4% rule, whereby you spend 4% of your portfolio's value every year, seem reasonable, but can either leave you not having enough money or not maximizing your enjoyment, depending on the profile of portfolio returns. If markets do well in the early years of retirement, then 4% may actually be too conservative. But if markets do poorly, you may run out of money before you pass away. Building in some guardrails as to when you should reduce or increase spending based on your portfolio's performance can help manage this uncertainty. An alternative or supplementary plan might be to take on part-time employment, should you need to. Of course, you want to be sure that you have the health and the skills required to do this, and realize that if your investments are doing badly, then there may be fewer job opportunities for you at that specific time. I guess the point of this is to highlight the importance of 1, having a plan, and 2, being willing to review it based on a change in circumstances, whether that be a change in personal circumstances or market conditions. This adaptive approach to financial planning will improve the resilience of your journey and reduce the likelihood of experiencing hard times. Now, I understand this is a little theoretical, but hopefully it's given you some things to think about. Naturally, having somebody to talk through this with can really help it make it real for you and help you grow in confidence that things are under control. That's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thank you for listening to Standard Chartered Money Insights, a podcast series by Standard Chartered Bank. For more details, visit Market Views on the Go on our website or click the link in the description.